Hi, I'm Bina Kavalam, career and life strategist for Women on the Rise. And I'm excited to bring to you today my 5 keys for feeling confident anytime, anywhere. So we all have those days, right, where we're not feeling great, our hair's not pretty, we're feeling kind of under the weather, and, we kind of envy, the girl next door who seems to have everything. And we kind of feel a little bit negative about us, okay, a lot negative. And so this is why we need to have a way to kick us out of it. Because the truth is, we all feel sometimes not so confident. We all have those bad days where, we get into a fight with our significant other, or, we get reprimanded at work. And what really separates the folks that are not successful from those that are successful, strong women is that ability to turn it around, to stop, to pause and say, okay, I'm having a pretty crummy day and I'm feeling pretty crummy. What can I learn from this? Okay. And then just turn it around. So today we're going to focus on some of those ways that you can turn things around. And I like to call it acknowledging your wins. So when you acknowledge your wins, well, one, you acknowledge your success. So remember a while back in a prior video, I talked about how you should always have that praise folder at work. And if you need a refresher, the praise folder is anytime your boss, your colleagues, even your significant other, when they send you some praise, maybe a great job on that project, or thanks honey for making a great dinner, it's all about writing that down, because we forget it if we don't acknowledge it and recognize it. So you write it down, and then from there you think about, okay, you're going to keep it for when you get you're going to keep it for when you have your performance review. But there are days when you also need to feel good about yourself. So crack open that Word doc and start reading and seeing what other people have said about you that is positive, because that's going to kind of reaffirm those successes that you've had. Acknowledge your worth. That's number 2. So you've also got to acknowledge your worth. Like, what do you bring to the table that's different than anyone else? We all have something. Out of the billions of people on the planet, we all have something that's unique about us. It's our personality, our style, our talk. It could be anything. But acknowledge that. So think about what do people thank you for? And write that down in that praise folder, in that Word doc that I was talking about. So when you need it, you can always go back to it. I'd also take the next step of just writing like 1 or 2 words on a Post-it note. I have a whole bunch of Post-it notes right in front of me, but I always keep 1 or 2 that kind of acknowledge about who I am. My personal brand is called Hi Chai. And so I always put a Post-it note that says, Hi Chai. And for me, that reminds me, what do I uniquely bring? What's my worth? What do I uniquely bring to the table? So posting that somewhere that you can see, no one else really can, will help you boost that up, your self-confidence. Third is acknowledge your intelligence. Everyone is intelligent in some way. We may not all have, 200 plus IQs or be the next Einstein, but we all bring something to the table that's of value. Some of us are artists. Some of us are gabbers and have the gift for gab. Some of us are Excel queens. But we all bring something that's unique and valuable to the table. So acknowledge your intelligence. Know that you're intelligent and bright and smart. And you've got that one awesome factor. that you're really good at, make sure you write that down in your praise doc. No. Acknowledge your ability to say no. Now, for me, this is a big one because we've always got to not only recognize that when we've got those naysayers in our head, those people, those negative thoughts, that negative self-talk that kind of brings us down, you know, when we're not feeling so confident, and then it kind of snowballs. You ever have that? That I call her the inner mean girl. And it's the inner mean girl is always going to, it starts off by a historical way to help you prevent, you know, to prevent you from burning yourself. So it's like a way of saying, okay, don't put your finger in a fire. Ooh, that burned. Okay, so now in the future, I know not to do it. But we as women take that to an entire different realm, right? We're going off and we're thinking about, you know, every little thing that we might potentially do wrong, and then we're nitpicking at each other. And this inner mean girl just, you know, kind of says, oh, you failed, or you're never going to succeed. And that hurts our self-confidence. But what you can do is you have the ability to say no to the naysayer, to that inner mean girl. Say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play this game. You know, recognize what the learning was and move on. Turn it around. Don't sit there in that negativity. You know, so say no to that inner mean girl in you. And finally, S. S is for your sassiness or your savviness, whatever you want to say. Now, I call it the inner mean. You know how we talked about the inner mean girl in the last tip? I call this your inner diva. We all have one. And you may not think you do. You know, you sassiness, dad, with your head moving and shaking like that, finger up in the air. We all have it. Think about the last time your best friend broke up with, you know, or got dumped. And you were the first person there to tell her, no, he was not worth it. Right? That's your inner diva. That's the diva that's coming and saying, no, you're going to stick up for your friend. Well, what about you? What about sticking up for you? That is that sassiness, that savviness that we bring to the table. Whatever you want to call it, whatever S word you want to call it, it's that inner joy that you bring to you, that spunkiness. All these S words. Whatever you want to call it, it matters to you. And those are your 5 keys to feeling confident anytime, anywhere. Remember to acknowledge your successes, your wins, acknowledge your successes. Sorry, acknowledge your successes, your worth, your intelligence, your ability to say no to the naysayer, and your savviness or sassiness, and your inner diva. All right, so those are your 5. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to following on Google Plus and on LinkedIn, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. All of my social media links, by the way, are on my website listed below. Thanks, guys.